All right, we're back today working on the $500 skid steer. So I misspoke last video and called this thing a Hydromac. I'm pretty sure it's just a Gehl 2500. I thought it was a Hydromac due to the color. I haven't found any model or serial number on it anywhere yet. Maybe you guys could let me know where I could find that. That'd be awesome. Because I'd love to know what year it is. I suspect it's somewhere in the early to mid 70s. Just off some quick research. So in the last episode, we got the Generac 33 horsepower engine fired up and running. All we really had to do was fix a carb solenoid that was sticking and clean the needle seat. It runs decent. Between last video and now, the only other thing I've done is replace that run of fuel line and put a clear filter in there so I can make sure I can verify it has fuel. I need to actually tidy up those lines. Yeah, so since then I haven't really done much, but I did acquire something for it. Not a new thing, of course. We still have $0 invested in this thing outside of the $500 I paid for it. So what we have here are all four original wheels and tires, and the tires are in tough shape, which is a shame. There's two that are completely blown out. This one's actually really pretty good, but it's the only one that's good. That one's a trailer tire as well. So the guy pulled these off and put these on because he wanted more ground clearance. Now I am a little fearful. I've heard stories of these things breaking their gearboxes, their hydro units, because of bigger tires. But I don't plan to keep this thing for that long, so I'm not too concerned. But the big issue is, if you can see, there's two different size tires on this thing. That happens on both sides. And that's a big problem because these two tires are connected directly with a chain. So that chain's really unhappy trying to twist these things. So that's a big issue. That's the first thing we're going to rectify. I picked these back up from the original owner for free. He just wanted them gone because I want to keep my eye out for a new set of 13-inch tires for it with some more tread. But for now, until I find a good deal on a used set of tires or something, find cheap enough new ones, we're just going to swap it. So the two big tires are over here and the two smaller tires on the other side, because the difference in the two sides is not as big of a deal as a difference on the same side. After that, we'll see what we're going to get into. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this thing, but I do want to at least rectify that simple thing. All right, so first things first, let's get it fired up and try and get this front end off the ground. I have scissor blocks to put under it. All right, so we got our front axle up in the air. Now, I think I'm going to grab a farm jack and we'll jack one side at a time up, which is going to be a little scary, but we'll just go slow and carefully. All right, let's get our jack in here. I was originally going to use a farm jack, but opted for the slightly safer version, which is actually working pretty good. All right, that should be high enough. I don't want to go any higher. I think we can get that on and off. We'll grab some sockets. All right, let's go to the other side and pull one, I guess the front tire, and then we'll be good. All right, so since I don't trust this thing at all, I'm gonna use a trick my dad taught me a long time ago. Using a bar to get the tire where you need it. Voila. Now, maybe one of you guys can tell me this. Why do some equipment and tractors use lug bolts instead of lug nuts? I've always found them, I know they're easier to replace if the threads get messed up, but, well, really not, because if the hub gets messed up, then you're kind of screwed. You have to re-tap it, but I've always just found them extremely frustrating to get lined up in, especially with much heavier tires. Never quite understood why some companies use them. Maybe one of you guys know. All right, well, that takes care of that issue. I just found it really funny that the white wall Cooper Cobra tires are facing outwards, but we got the two even. These are, let's see here, 215, 65 15s. And these guys over here, P205 65 15s. So close, but just slightly different. All right, we'll get it raised back up. I'll pull those cinder blocks out of there, and we'll see if this thing drives any different. All right, back on all fours. You could definitely tell these are a wee bit shorter and smaller. Okay, I did want to say a disclaimer. I would not recommend lifting it the way I did. I was kind of forced into doing it that way. I don't want to tear up my driveway as this is a rental house. So I did it on the grass. It's a pretty dry day. I was not anywhere near underneath this thing. I realized this is a very dangerous act that I was doing, and I was treating it with a good bit of respect. So that's my little disclaimer. All right, let's get in this thing and fire it up and see if it's any happier turning and just driving. All right, let's give it a try. Got you back on the chest rig for maximum understanding. Maybe outside filming would be better, but this is what you get for now. Now I'm only gonna drive a little bit because this thing tears up my lawn really bad, and I do actually care about how my lawn looks. But we gotta put the driving gloves on. All right, well, forward and back is still the same. Up on the pavement, as much as I hate to. And that'll tell us if that popping noise is back. There it is. It is just sliding right off the pavement. All right, I need to pay attention here. Okay, well, it seems to be more controllable, but it still makes that horrible popping noise. So we're gonna have to start the next stage of the diagnosis and repair process of just checking out those chains. That'll be tomorrow's problem. All right, it's been a few days. The only thing that's changed is I moved it from outside into the garage, which it does fit, which is awesome. So, as you guys saw in the last clips, which was a couple nights ago, swapping the tires around definitely helped, but it didn't take care of all the issues. So I think I'm going to pop this little access cover off and see if there's an adjuster in there, or see if it gives me a good view of the sprocket. Maybe we can figure out what that banging noise is that you heard. Aha! So that gets me to sprocket, and maybe that's an adjuster. Now, I did find a PDF manual for this thing the other day, at least a parts exploded view. Maybe that'll tell me what that is and if it's an adjuster, how to use it. So I'm gonna reference that real quick and let you guys know what happens. All right, so the adjuster is just this guy back there. There's slots, so you can adjust it up or down. Obviously, I'm gonna go up to try and get it tighter. Now, the manual I found said there's supposed to be some adjusting bolt to push it up. I don't have that, so I just grabbed a ratchet strap and we're gonna pull it up slowly that way. You can see it's heading up. Now we got our top chains super tight, but our bottom chain's still really loose. So I'm thinking maybe if I fired it up and just ran it a little bit forward with it strapped like this, that would probably take care of that slack in the bottom. All right, so I figured out if you turn it whatever way I was just turning it, then it moves the slack from under the chain to above the chain, and then we should be able to tighten it up here. Definitely a lot of slack. That's definitely causing our problem. I could actually see it jumping down there. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get this tightened up, and we'll see if it makes any difference. Probably tomorrow morning, because it's about 11 o'clock at night. No, I don't think my neighbors would appreciate me running this thing around the backyard. All right, so we got the skid steer up on the trailer. We're at my buddy's farm here. And he's got a couple projects for me today. We're going to attempt to use this thing on. So the first one's going to be cleaning out this barn. It's a horse barn right now, so we're just going to get the manure out of it and throw it in the bucket of his tractor that won't fit in there. And we'll see if it survives that before we attempt anything else. All right, let's get the little guy unloaded then. to it. Already a lot more fun than just driving around my backyard. Man, these tires suck. Alright, so he just kind of wants the top layer of manure scraped off is the idea. I think maybe we'll back drag everything off the walls and make a pile, I don't know. I should have made a pile right there. Tires suck. Alright, now that we're back, let's spin around and try and load them. full bucket, it starts spinning really bad. I need better tires so bad. Alright, I'm going to see about setting you guys up on that pole over there. Maybe it's a little bit better camera angle. All right, so it's doing its thing. We've been going at it for about 20 minutes now. The tires are its biggest issue, and really only the front spin, which is weird because they're connected by chain. So I don't know what's up there, but as soon as you get remotely close to a full bucket, it just starts spinning really bad. But back dragging and stuff, it does that fine. It's just hard to get a big scoop. But knock on wood, so far we don't have any leaking hydraulics or any real issues to report other than it just is kind of tough to run. So yeah. All right, so another progress progress report. I'm just getting too excited. It's skid steering here. So I didn't really show it well, but we're just scooping out into my friend Jordan's Farmall 560 out there with a much larger bucket. So that tractor can't really fit in here well, so this thing is perfect for dumping into the bucket of that. That's got a much larger bucket and it can move much quicker, so he's carrying it out there. So again, really the only issue I'm having with this thing is its tires just stink. Otherwise, it doesn't even seem like, knock on wood, anything's leaking really. Now the bent bucket definitely comes into play. It makes it much harder to back drag. And yeah, it's It's jumpy. It's going to be hard to make this look nice, but we're doing it. We're getting the manure out. So we got about one more bucket load and maybe a little bit more scraping, but we got a majority of the manure. This is all mostly dirt. So I'm pretty pumped. I'll set you guys back up with the time lapse and get this last load finished up. All right, that's about as far as we're gonna go in here. It's pretty much down to the base level. There's some little spots here and there. And of course I didn't wanna get too close to the wall. But I mean, we got 3 tractor bucket loads of manure out of here. And the thing's still doing good. The only issue I noticed is at the end, the bucket didn't want to, the very bottom, it wasn't super excited about raising. There was kind of a delay. I don't know if we're a little low on hydraulic oil, but I don't think we've leaked any yet. And funny enough, about 5 minutes ago, I was backing up and a backup alarm clicked on for a second. So somewhere there's a backup alarm that's sort of working. So we're just gonna hand load the rest of this manure in here. And then we're gonna move on to the next project. All right, we're all finished up, moving to the next project. I will say this thing's running better than ever. I got the choke all the way off. You pretty much just can run it at idle. So here's what I was talking about with the hydraulics. I'm asking it to raise and it's not wanting to. I think the bucket's getting bound up. Grab this little pile I made a mess of. I don't know if he wants me to spread it around or not, so you don't have a little mound out here. I think I just ran something over. Hopefully not a goat. We got her revved up and traveling now. Let's see what the top speed is on this baby. Just fast enough to be kind of scary. Oh yeah, we're flying. Holy moly. Woo. All right, so the next project we got here, we're gonna try and knock this hill down here, which you can't really see it on camera. Just so he's gonna put a gate here. He wants to be able to open it that way. I don't think it's gonna want to do it with the tires and no teeth, but we're gonna see. All right, I think we're gonna have to hit it with random speed. All right, we got a little bit of dirt. I basically mowed the lawn for you. All right, well, I would call that a fail, but really, without a tooth bucket, I knew it wasn't gonna do well. So he's got one more project that we can try. It's not really a project, it's more just playing around. He's got a dirt pile back here he wants to move eventually, so he said I can kind of make it a little bit more of a stockpile if I want, just move it around. All right, so back here in the weeds, there's a pile of dirt, and he's getting ready to run his fence right along here. And eventually he wants to be able to get this dirt with his tractor. So I think the last project we're gonna try and do is get just the dirt closest to the fence here, away from it. And kind of get some of the weeds torn down. Really, at this point, we're just screwing around. He doesn't actually need this done, but I'm not quite done with this thing yet. I am pumped on how well it's working, knock on wood. Really, a set of tires and this thing would be pretty handy, and a tooth bar. And it would be pretty handy. It's the most fun I've had running a skid steer in my life, and I've run a lot of skid steers. A lot nicer than this, but it's just fun because it's stupid. So I'm gonna set you guys up. We'll start digging away at this pile. It's gonna be tough without teeth, but we'll see what we can do. It's some nice topsoil. Iowa's known for the nice dark soil, and they definitely got it out here. All right, let's get to it. Alright, so you're gonna be aim at speed, which is not the right way to do dirt work, but kind of the fun way. Alright, we're going to call it quits here. Believe it or not, it's 7 p.m. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how much fun this thing is. But we took a pretty good dent out of this pile. It was doing pretty good there at the end. I still got an hour ride home, so I want to get them moving. Put her in the high gear again. Woo! It feels like you're riding a bull. It's also scary how you can just put it on autopilot like that. Now I'm getting coated in freaking heat dust. This thing's a blast, I'll give it that. Alright, last part of the distance, we gotta load it on the trailer. Which of course it doesn't want to do. So we ended up just winching it onto the trailer as it's the safest option. My trailer ramps are covered in expanded metal, so it makes them very slick with really anything but this thing, especially with these tires. So anyway, this brings us to the end of the video, and I had a blast running this thing. It was easily the most fun I've ever had in a skid steer, and I've run some very nice skid steers, but just none of them add up to how fun. It's just fun to run old equipment like this that's kind of a little bit junky but still gets the job done. I was extremely impressed with how well this thing did, and I'm really glad it did not break. Sadly, it's going to be the end of the saga for this little machine. I just do not really have a use for it right now, and I can't justify storing it until I do. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to the next guy. I feel a lot more confident selling it now that I've run it for quite some time and it did well. So we're going to have to go ahead and move this one on to the next guy, but I will definitely be replacing this in my fleet one day. I want another one of these things. They are just so much fun. All right, so thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please do consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a lot. I also do read each and every comment, and the reason I made this video was actually because a few of you had commented that you wanted to see me do a project with this thing before I got rid of it. So I do read them. I do enjoy reading the comments. So thank you guys. I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, we're on our way home now. We're stuck at a train crossing. And while I was waiting, I spotted this sweetheart. Check her out. 966C, that thing is a beauty. That's cool as heck. Someone's private machine though, so we're not gonna go poking around, but